Hello, everyone, and welcome to Metro TV. I'm your host, Andy Hoig, publisher and CEO of Metro Magazine. Today, we have a great show, so don't go away. We'll be right back. Well, welcome everybody. I'm here with Dennis Pate. He is the president and CEO of the Omaha's Henry Doorly Zoo and Aquarium. Dennis, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thanks for having me on. It's a real pleasure.
I have to say, I love your background.
Thank you.
That is the focal point of the zoo for so many people coming to Omaha or here in Omaha. You see the dome, and I remember when that was built.
Well, I'm in our conference room, and this is on the monitor behind me. We do recognize it as the iconic thing about the zoo, and I couldn't be on here without showing off some part of the zoo.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. So, yeah, I wanted to sit down and talk with you today because, again, as of mid-March, COVID-19 kind of swept into our community, and, that's impacted the zoo. It's impacted visiting the zoo, the events happening at the zoo. So I just want to, let's kind of start off with that. What is new, or what are you doing? How has it impacted the zoo? That's a simple question.
Several different ways. For the 2.5 months we were closed, and so that was a huge financial impact for us. And for the first 2 weeks, we voluntarily sent all the staff we could home, and they worked from home to try and really early on stop the spread. So after a couple of weeks, gradually we returned back, but it had just devastating financial implications for us, for events, for facility rentals, for admissions, for memberships, for gift, for food, you name it, all the way down the line. We were severely impacted, like a lot of people. The difference with the zoo is about 30% of our cost we can't do anything about, and that's the bubble that I talk about around animal care and some of the engineering folks and the horticulture folks. If everything were closed, we'd still have a bill for about $15 million to run the zoo for a year. So that is not, it's way beyond lock the door and go home. There's still a lot of responsibilities we have here to take care of our animals.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like you said, you were closed down for like 2.5 months.
And then after that, for the first 3 weeks in June, we were only open outside in one way. So really depressed attendance. We were down in the 25% of a normal attendance during those first 3 weeks.
Yeah. Because the Omaha Henry Doorly Zoo and Aquarium, I remember going there when I was like 5 years old. And first of all, it has just exploded in what it offers people, and the educational, the research, everything that's happening at the zoo.
Even since I've been here, Andy.
Yeah.
Even in the 11 years I've been here, it's exploded.
Yeah. And like you said, the animals, they still need care. Everything that you're doing requires care. And for people wanting to visit. And one of the things, our zoo is like the #1 zoo in the world, isn't it?
We like to think so. We get a lot of my colleagues that would argue with me about that, but we're certainly one of the very top zoos in the world.
Yeah. So what's happening now? So if people are wanting to visit the zoo today, and then I'm going to ask you before we end, how people can support the zoo as well, in addition to attendance. But
thank you.
But like right now, what's going on? You've got some things happening that people can participate in, and if somebody wants to come to the zoo this weekend.
So for a lot of people, the zoo's going to look pretty much like you remembered it. There are still some things closed. We're required to monitor how many people are in each of the buildings, and so that requires more staffing, how many people in, how many people out, so we can stay at or below that 50%. That's a part of the directed health measure from the governor's office. So we have to monitor the attendance in all the indoor buildings and stay below 50%. So almost all the buildings are open. Now, parts of some buildings are not. The lower level of the Desert Dome is not open. The lower level of the lead jungle is not open. Some it's because the paths are too narrow. some because it's just kind of dark in there and you're not going to know whether you're close to somebody or not.
Yeah.
And some, like Adventure Trails, there's just too many high touch surfaces. It's built for that. And so we've decided it's just taken too many risks to open that, and that will hopefully open next spring again. But everything else is open. Animals are outside. The grounds look great. We really, if we didn't take care of the grounds for those 2.5 or 3 months, it would be a weed patch in no time.
Sure.
We have a heavy investment in the landscaping here at the zoo. Of course, we have people here even while we're closed. A lot of our animals are dependent on life support. Think of the aquarium and the fishes and all of that. So
yeah,
a lot of engineering folks here as well. But if you come through the zoo, it's going to feel an awfully lot like what you experienced last summer. The difference is that it's not quite as rich. You're not going to hear the keeper talks. You're not going to hear some of the narrations from the education department. I just mentioned a couple of things that are closed. Not all the restaurants are open. So we've had to monitor that pretty closely, but for a stroll through the zoo, it's going to feel pretty darn good, I think, if you come back.
Yeah. And what's popping in my head is a trip to the zoo kind of just, it's this relaxation. It's this thing that you can do for yourself. It's an experience to, first of all, experience Omaha, but it's nice to get, a lot of people we've been all together, all closed up, especially for the kids, or just, I don't have kids. Why wouldn't I want to go stroll through the zoo and just experience this beautiful place that we have here in Omaha?
It's a wonderful walk. It really is.
Yeah.
And with all the landscaping and the seating opportunities and the shade, or if you want to get a cup of coffee or have lunch here, just that by itself is kind of a really neat experience.
Yeah.
It really is. And we planned it that way to be that way. So it's doesn't have to be an intense viewing area, learning area if you don't want it to be.
Right.
For people, they love the opportunity, especially in this age where kids are on computers even more than they were before, or they're on their cell phones even more than they were before, to come with your family, put those aside and just talk about what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Being together as a group is wonderful. And that's what people love about the place.
Absolutely. And the animals are not aware of COVID-19. They're still there doing their thing, being in this beautiful place. And, they're there for us to just, to enjoy them and take care of them.
We're part of that enriched environment for them. They're curious about what's going on, and little kids, and how come that kid's crying, and especially some of the primates and really the gorillas and orangs who are very curious about people.
Yeah.
And I think miss people being here.
Yes. Well, let's talk a little bit before we end. How can people support the zoo? Because I know, obviously zoo memberships, and that's important regardless what's going on. But are there some other ways, especially during this time when, you're needing, additional funds? I mean, how can people support you?
So you mentioned one, the big one is memberships.
Yeah.
That accounts for roughly 25% of our revenue to keep the doors open is memberships. And we're significantly below where we would expect to be.
Yeah.
So, and your membership, regardless of when you sign on, is good for a year. So you don't have to sign on during that membership drive in the spring, although you get a discount for doing that. But any other time of the year, it's great to become a zoo member. Just come visiting the zoo, having lunch here, participating in some of our education programs, helping us with our emergency fund. That's part of the foundation to help meet our operating needs. So we have much less money coming in, but we've also regulated, so we have much less money going out too. So we have all kinds of cuts, but you know what? Those still don't balance. That's the need for the emergency fund.
Yeah. And so people can go to your website to learn more, to donate, to buy a membership, and all that good stuff.
You'll get, as soon as you open it up, you'll see choices on there about the emergency fund, how to visit the zoo. It can take you really easily to the membership page. It's very easy. to be able to do all of that. So, and we have all the standard safety precautions in place that you would expect. In fact, we've probably done some of them earlier than most. We required masks way back in June for people to go in our buildings because we have concerns with animals too. So we've been doing that for quite a while. It's nothing new.
Yeah. And I just want to mention social media is a great way to keep up to date, know what's going on, any kind of special events or anything you're doing.
Yeah. And people are all over the social media. We probably have 300,000 people that look in on Facebook, for instance, that follow us on that. We also have a ton of educational experiences that you can do virtually.
Yes.
There's 10 different programs for all of that, from backstage experiences, virtual field trips, student workshops, professional development for teachers, camps and classes, and on, scouts. All those things are all virtual experiences. So our education staff has really made a dramatic shift away from on grounds to still live, but virtual.
Yeah, and I would encourage everybody to sign up for your e-newsletter because I get that. And I just tons of information I've noticed that you do all those virtual events. So kids, families, adults, whoever can enjoy the zoo from their home, if they can't make it to the zoo. And that's one way that you have definitely pivoted and said, okay, how can we keep the zoo in front of our community?
Yeah, and if your kids aren't in school full time and they need a learning experience about animals, by all means, come out.
Yes.
And stroll the grounds and see what you can learn about diversity of life right here in Omaha, Nebraska.
Well, Dennis, thank you again for taking the time to have this really wonderful conversation. I tell you, by end of day today, I promise I'm going to buy a zoo membership. So that's on my to-do list.
Perfect.
Before the end of the day today, and we'll get out there and enjoy the zoo and encourage everybody else to do that as well.
Thank you for having me on. It's been it's been great.
Yeah, you're welcome. So we will talk to you soon.
Okay.
Thanks again.
Bye-bye. Sure.
Bye. Well, welcome back, everybody. I am here with the folks from Opera Omaha. We have Rebecca Brown, Director of Marketing and Public Relations, and Sean Kelly, Conductor for Opera Outdoors, which doing a little bit of something a little different this year, and we'll learn more about that. But Rebecca, why don't you just Opera Omaha? Tell us about Opera Omaha.
Well, Opera Omaha, we are the only professional opera organization in Nebraska, in the state of Nebraska. We produce generally 3 main stage operas at the Orpheum Theater. Obviously, we're in weird times, so we're pushing that back a little bit for the safety of everyone. We have a one festival, and we have a wonderful community engagement and outreach program, which is the Holland Community Opera Fellowship. So that's kind of us in a nutshell, and we're excited to talk about what we have coming up.
Yeah. So let's talk about what's coming up, because everybody has had to change, pivot, think outside the box. Opera Outdoors what year is this for Opera Outdoors?
This is the 8th.
Okay, I was going to say the 8th year. I remember when this started, and it was so exciting and a wonderful experience for everybody to experience opera if you're an opera lover or you just aren't familiar with opera. But let's talk about Opera Outdoors 2020. Sean.
Sure. So Opera Outdoors is traditionally performed outdoors. This year we are going to be doing a radio broadcast. So please tune in on Friday the 21st at 8 p.m. on KBNO. We have 3 visiting artists, soprano Eleni Kalenos, tenor Peter Drackley, and bass Hidenori Inoue. And if you remember last year, Peter and Hidenori were with us last year, so they're both returning artists. And so we're really happy to have them back. And Eleni Kalenos is an absolutely beautiful, heartbreakingly expressive soprano, and I know everyone is just going to love hearing the three of them together. And joining the three visiting guests, we have our four Holland Community Opera Fellows. Gwenna Fairchild-Taylor, Caitlin Zardetto, Jared Hiscock, and our new fellow is Nick Davis. So big welcome to Nick. This is going to be his Omaha debut.
Yeah. So like you're saying, it's now a radio broadcast on KVNO Friday the 21st. What time does it start again? People tune in at
8 p.m.
8 o'clock.
Okay. And you can invite people, you can just like get a picnic basket and sit out in your backyard and
we want to encourage people to do that and enjoy this in your outdoors essentially. And share with us how you're enjoying this. Get your Bluetooth speaker and tune in, KVNO. You can tune in directly through the radio. They have an app or through their website. They'll be streaming as well. So get your Bluetooth speaker, set up your picnic, share on Facebook. Let us see how you're enjoying this concert that evening as well.
And one of the things I know in past years, questions that come up are, can families with kids enjoy it? Can people that don't know opera enjoy it? One of the things I love about Opera Outdoors, it truly is this space to experience opera if you've never been to an opera.
Yes.
So, again, what kind of, over the past years, I think it was out at Midtown Crossing. Who showed up? Was it Kit?
Oh my gosh. So it's got a wide community net.
Yeah.
We've had quite a few families. We've had community partners that we've invited. Obviously, this year's a little bit different, but we've had community partners that we've invited to be a part of this as well, that have brought their families and their participants. And so it's really it's someone who wants to enjoy a beautiful night and being outside and listening to opera. And like I said, we encourage you to still do that.
It's a great way for everybody who maybe hasn't been to an opera to experience opera as well. But let's talk about going to the opera or the Opera Omaha season. Can you give me kind of a quick rundown of what's happening this year or the 2020, the 2020-2021 season?
2020, what year?
I don't know.
So obviously, because of COVID and just really keeping in mind the safety, not just of our audience and our patrons, but also our artists and our staff and everyone that's involved in producing an opera, we have shifted a bit. So now Marriage of Figaro is moving from November to February, and that will be our opener for the season. And then in April, we have Sweeney Todd in its original time slot in April. And then we're excited to partner with Omaha Symphony for a really beautiful collaboration that will be at the Holland Performing Arts Center.
Okay. And I know a great way to stay connected is through Facebook, social media. I get your emails as well, because you've also done some virtual, you've started to do, quite a few like virtual events or where people can participate when you can't, as we're kind of going through the shutdown or not being around people. Encourage people to sign up for your Facebook. Or I'm sorry, for your Facebook and also for your e-newsletter.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
That's Facebook at Opera Omaha. And you can go obviously to our website, operaomaha.org, and check out, kind of what's going on and what's new.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to thank you both for joining me today. Again, the website one more time.
operaomaha.org.
Okay, find out everything you need to know. And I look forward to tuning in on Friday, August 21st for Opera Outdoors. So thank you both.
Thanks, Andy.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I am here with Julie Schroeder. She is the CEO and founder of Rejuvenating Women. Julie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we talked, it was beginning of COVID, I think end of March, first part of April, kind of what was going on. And, part of what you do is you have this gala every year. We're going to talk about that, but let's first just kind of give us what is Rejuvenating Women for those who aren't familiar with the organization.
Sure. Rejuvenating Women, what we do is provide hope and restoration to individuals who've been trafficked, which also includes sexual exploitation, which means prostitution, for the most part. But what we do is have a program divided up into 4 parts that individuals can come and take part in. Now, the bigger piece of our program obviously is the home. So we have a home where individuals come and they live. They can stay here for up to 2 years. We also have developed a short-term program, which isn't really a program. It's more of a safe place to be, or they go to the next place. And then, and a lot of that is referral based. So referral from the police department, whoever, maybe they just need someone to be somewhere for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we developed a virtual case consultation piece as well for those due to COVID, or they're home with their kids, but they want certain pieces of our program. They can do that virtually.
Yeah. Okay.
So we can serve more individuals that way.
Yeah. Well, you do such important work in the community. And I want to thank you for that. Because when did you found? What was the date?
2012.
2012. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's just so important. And one of the ways that you can support what you do is this gala coming up, Rejuvenating Women, Beautifully Broken Gala on September 10th, Thursday, September 10th.
Yeah.
So let's just talk a little bit about that. And this is actually virtual and live. So, we're inviting people to come out live at the Embassy Suites La Vista. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we have a really big speaker coming this year, Cyntoia Brown. And I just urge you, if you haven't heard of her, just Google Santoya Brown, Cyntoia. She is coming. She's actually bringing her husband, who is he's a rapper. And I hadn't heard of him, but I'm not a rap person. But she is coming to share her story of how she ended up being trafficked.
Yeah.
How she ended up killing one of the buyers, and how to get free, and how she then was convicted for murder for life at 16.
Wow.
So she did get released. The governor of Tennessee released her last January. She actually got out of jail last August. So she's only been out a year. She's written a book about her life, about what she has learned about trafficking, and about the injustice that some of these individuals who are trafficked, they go to jail for a long time, but they're victims. So how can we improve the system to help the victims instead of just throw them in jail? Yeah. So she's powerful. She's powerful.
Wow. Yeah. Sounds like, and I am not familiar with her. I'm going to Google her name when I get done with our interview.
Sure.
What a great speaker. So, that in itself, you don't want to miss it. But again, like I said, this is are you doing virtual and live?
Yeah, we're doing a hybrid event. Yep.
Okay, so you're doing both.
Yeah.
Again, Thursday, September 10th.
Yeah. So Embassy Suites, September 10th in La Vista. It starts at 5:30. There is a VIP reception for the top 2 sponsors and their guests. So, and with that, they get a book signed by her as well. We will be doing a book signing at the gala, but I think she's actually signing them ahead of time, but we will be having her sell them at the which is a big deal because her book is phenomenal. So 5:30, it's supposed to go till 8:30. And live event, we have a team of people who specialize in doing an online event. Because I know with online, you have to be careful because Wi-Fi doesn't always work, whatever. But we have a team of people who are actually going to, what am I trying to say? Like MC the virtual piece.
Sure. Okay.
So that's what we're going to do. And those tickets, we're announcing those later today or tomorrow.
Okay.
And those will more than likely be for a suggested donation versus a ticket sale.
Sure. And I know, and I'm sorry, we just have a few seconds left. This just flew by. I know who's your sponsors for this event?
Yeah. We have our premier sponsor is Henry Davis.
Okay.
Which is wonderful and amazing to have him on board. And then our other sponsor is Thrasher, and Thrasher Foundation has been great too.
So to find out more information about the live or the virtual, people go to rejuvenatingwomen.com. Okay.
And they will find the link there under the event. And I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There's a lot of people coming, so there is a maximum. So we want to make sure that everybody knows that to get their tickets soon. And then if not, they can also do virtual. So. Okay.
All right. Well, Julie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Welcome.
It's great to see you, and I'm excited for this event coming up. So,
me too.
Yep, we will talk soon.
Thank you, Andy.
Okay. You're welcome.
Bye. Bye.
So thank you everyone for joining me today on metroTV. Learn more about what's going on in the Omaha community, like our Facebook page, Metro Magazine, all one word, or visit spiritofomaha.com. And we will see you back here next week.